So the Peach Bowl is here. And this year's Peach Bowl is going to feature number 5 Texas versus number 4 Arizona State in one of this year's quarterfinal games. And I don't know if this is just me, but this doesn't feel like a Peach Bowl matchup. Because I don't know. To me, when I think of Peach Bowl, I think of like an ACC team or SEC team playing in it. And yes, I understand that Texas is now a SEC team, but it's going to take a while for me to really see them as an SEC team. And maybe this also has something to do with the fact that even though Texas is very much in the South, for some reason when I think of the South, I never think of Texas. Like, Texas is not the first state that hops into my mind at all. Maybe that's because I'm from the North and I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and maybe that's just like me being a Northerner, but that just doesn't seem like it to me. But they're here, and I think we're going to be in for a very, very interesting game. And the reason why this game piques my interest so much is because it's strength versus strength. It's this Arizona State run game versus this Texas front seven. It's Cam Scatterboo versus this Texas defensive front that has only let up 104 rushing yards per game. And they're going to get to Arizona State team that when they win, it's because Cameron Scatterboo goes off. Only one of their wins this year has been when he's rushed for over 100. And I'm pretty sure in that game, he still rushed for 70 plus yards on like 24 carries. He was still very effective and still was a big factor in that game, even though it may not have showed up that much in the rush yards category. And I think that's where this game is going to be decided. I think this Texas-Arizona State game is going to have a lot of the same keys Boise State and the Penn State game have, mainly because I think Boise State and Arizona State are two very similar teams. These are two teams that lean heavily on their run game and rely heavily on their star power backs to lead them to victory. And honestly, if it wasn't for Ashton Jeanty, Cameron Scatterboo would be the best back in college football right now. And he's a guy I think we should be talking a lot more about. And he's one of those guys that I'm happy was included in, the Heisman conversation. I think was in the top 5, if I'm not mistaken, and he's having a remarkable year. I mean, watching Cameron Scatterboo run the ball is amazing because he legitimately looks like he's playing with children. He legitimately has guys bouncing on and off of them, and then he will either run through you or run past you. It's just remarkable to watch, and he will be really put to the test this game because this Texas front seven is one of the better ones in the nation. And if we're just being honest, Texas is going to be by far the most talented team Arizona State has played. While I have a lot of respect for the Big 12 and see them as one of the more deeper conferences in college football, they're not top heavy. They don't have a lot of those teams that are they don't have a lot of premier teams in the nation. They don't have a lot of really, really good defenses. And Texas is one of the best ones. And they're coming out the SEC, which we've kind of seen, even though I will always give the SEC the respect, we've kind of seen in bowl season. It's like, is the SEC a little overrated? Maybe, I don't know. But Cam Scatterboo will really be put to the test. And the game honestly comes down to that. If Cam Scatterboo goes off and has a phenomenal day, Arizona State has a chance to win this game. If Cameron Scatterboo cannot get it going and he is shut down, he is on lockdown, then Arizona State's not going to win this football game. It comes down to that. And I'm not saying Arizona State is one-dimensional and they rely solely on Scatterboo to get them yards and to help him score points. No, but he is a big factor. And if they aren't able to run the ball, I question if they're going to be able to get into other parts of their offense that they do so very well. And part of the reason why I'm picking Texas in this game is because Arizona State is missing Jordan Tyson. If you don't know who Jordan Tyson is Arizona State's number 1 wide receiver, and he's going to be out for the rest of the year with the injury. I think it's a shoulder injury, if I'm not mistaken, because I've seen him with the sling, and I looked it up. He is out indefinitely, which sucks because this year he caught 75 balls for 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns. And he is a big piece of this Arizona State passing game. And if he was playing, I would like Arizona State's chances a lot more in this game, mainly because last week against Clemson, we saw that Texas' secondary can't be had. It can be had in those one-on-one matchups. In that Clemson game, it has been shown that they can be beat in those one-on-one matchups. Like, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I mean, in that game, TJ Moore went off. In that game, he had 9 catches for 116 yards. So while I still think this Texas defense is pretty good. They do have a few weaknesses when it comes to attacking their back end. I just think one of the things that kind of sucks for Arizona State is that their strength just lines up with Texas' strength. And I think Texas' strength is just stronger at the end of the day. Texas is very strong on both sides of the ball when it comes to dominating the line of scrimmage. They're going to run the ball against you, and they're going to make it very hard for you to run the ball against them. That's why I think for Arizona State to really even have a chance in this game, it's going to be on the back of Sam Levitt. Sam Levitt is going to have to come out there and have a very, very good game. And I understand that's a tall task for such a young quarterback who I'm pretty sure is a freshman. I don't think he's a true freshman because if I'm not mistaken, he was at Michigan State last year, but a redshirt freshman in his first full year starting. He is a young quarterback. So I know it's a lot to ask for me to say he's going to have to be the best quarterback on the field for Arizona State to legitimately have a chance, but that is true. He's going to have to be impactful with his arms and especially with his legs. I say his legs because Texas is going to make it hard for you to run the ball with Cameron Scadaboo, and a way to make it easier for Cameron Scadaboo is for Levitt to use his legs. And he's done a pretty good job of that this year. I mean, he's ran for 383 yards and 5 touchdowns. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities that he uses his legs to really help kill this Texas defense. I mean, against Iowa State, he was using his legs not only to generate rushing yards, but also to generate yards down the field when just scrambling, getting out of trouble. Now, I understand, like I said, it's a tall task to ask for a young quarterback, but if Arizona State wants to win this game, he is going to have to show up, and he's going to have to be better than Quinn Ewers. Now, lucky for Quinn Ewers, I don't think Quinn Ewers is going to have to do much for Texas to win this football game. For Texas, they're just going to need to do what they do best, which is run the football and dominate the line of scrimmage and dominate time of possession. I don't think Arizona State has the dogs in their front seven to match up with Texas. And that's no slight to Arizona State. I don't think there's many teams out there that can do that. I mean, the only teams out there I think that can do that with Texas is Georgia, because we've seen them do it, and Ohio State. I think those are the only two teams that can really stifle them on the ground. So if you're not facing those two teams, just do what you do best. You ran for 300 yards against Clemson. You can do the same thing against Arizona State. You can run the ball on them, dominate the line of scrimmage, then hit them a few times over top because you do have some really, really nice weapons on the outside. And Quinn Ewers, while I do have questions about how good he truly is, he can hit those guys. He can do it. Even though I have my suspicions about Quinn Ewers, he is enough to win this football game. And if Texas just does what they have done all year and lean heavily on that running game, I think Texas will win this football game. Now, if Cam Scadaboo is able to do what he has been able to do all season long and, just rip off chunk after chunk, and Sam Levitt's able to kill Texas on a few downfield shots and really open the whole field up for Arizona State, I think Texas could be in trouble, because I think there's a real conversation that needs to be had about the fact that Texas may not be as good of a team as we think they are, and that's no slight against Texas. It's just like, when you look at who they've played, they haven't played too many really good football teams. I mean, the best team they played in Georgia, and in both those games they lost, and in the second game they lost to a backup quarterback in the second half. And besides that, I mean, Clemson, and it's known about how I feel about Clemson. And then it's like Vanderbilt, Michigan. While yes, those aren't bad teams by any stretch of the imagination, those aren't top teams in the country. So I think it's definitely within the realm of possibilities that Arizona State makes this game close and could even win this game. Now, am I putting my money on that? No, not at all. I'm not doing that. I think Texas talent is going to show up. Steve Sarkisian is going to have those boys ready, and I think they're going to want to end this game as soon as possible. I think they're going to want to get out of here as soon as they can and leave no doubt, rest up and get ready, because whoever they play in the next round, whether it's Ohio State, whether it is Oregon, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be maybe the best team that they have seen all year. And I think it's going to be good for them if they can just get out this game, and just secure a nice victory, a nice comfortable victory, and not have to worry too much, and then shift all your focus to the semifinal round where it's going to get real. Not trying to overlook Arizona State and say they're a bad team, because I think Arizona State is a really good team, and I hope they're the Cinderella run. If I had to root for a team outside of my own, which is the Ohio State Buckeyes, I would root for Arizona State. I love what they got going on. I love what this team has been able to do given everything that's in their way, and the fact they're dealing with sanctions, with the fact that they honestly were picked to finish last in their conference And now they got a first round bye in the first ever 12-team playoff. And they're in a game where, in all honesty, they probably feel like they can win. And they do have a chance. I'm just leaning towards Texas. It's just me personally, and so, let me down in the comments below who you think will win. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, just let me know. I'm always going to be a fan of some friendly back and forth dialogue when it comes to these teams, because honestly, who knows what's going to happen? I am no expert. I'm just in front of the camera, but I love y'all. Please remember to like and subscribe and tell a friend to tell a friend. I love y'all. Peace.